Hi guys, Michael here, and today I'll be reviewing the book Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Chris Voss used to work as an FBI hostage negotiator. So if his advice can help save lives, it for sure can help you land a date or close a business deal. Now, I'll be talking about the concepts in the book that most relate to what I teach as a conversation and social coach. And I'll actually be kind of expanding on them in ways that his book didn't really cover. His book is much more business focused. Well, I'm going to show how these same concepts can be used to better relationships, make friendships, and get dates. The most valuable concept that I found in the book that I find is completely undervalued in other areas of negotiation that people teach is the concept that no is not a bad word to hear, especially early on in the conversation. And this is because when someone else feels comfortable saying no to you, that makes them feel empowered. It makes them feel in control of the situation. It makes them feel comfortable. And when they feel this way, they're going to be much more open to listening to what you have to say. I call this concept, don't block the fire exit. If you're in a room trying to negotiate with someone and someone feels there's a danger in the room, they're going to be kind of focusing on how do I get out of this interaction? What's my escape plan? And if they see you're in front of the fire exit, they're going to be thinking in their mind, they're just going to be focusing on how to avoid you as an obstacle. Now, metaphorically, the same thing's true. If a person feels like you're pressuring them into a negative interaction, and they're getting these bad feelings and they don't feel in control, and they feel if they're going to say no to you that it might have a bad response, the only thing their mind is going to be preoccupied with thinking is, how do I get out of this conversation? How do I say no and get away from this person as quickly as possible? With their mind preoccupied on this, they're not going to be able to really focus on what you're saying, and they're not going to be able to gather information through the conversation, so later on they can make an educated decision. However, while you shouldn't fear hearing no, and you actually should welcome it, you don't necessarily want them to answer no to the main proposition that you're making. And that's easy to avoid by just simply not making that direct proposition so early on in the interaction. Because people have what's known as a commitment bias. And if they say no to something directly, later on they're going to be less comfortable changing that decision because it's kind of second guessing their earlier decision. And there's also no reason why early on in the conversation they could make an educated decision and say yes to something that you propose. So instead, you need to structure your conversation where you can present them information in a manner that they find comfortable and they're not trying to avoiding the interaction so they can actually receive this information and then later on make that decision. A way to show early on in the conversation that you're completely comfortable with hearing no from a person, and so that person also feels that there will be no negative repercussions if they do say no to you, is to even structure questions like, excuse me, is this a bad time to talk? Or, would you like this project to fail? These are the type of questions that the person is most likely going to automatically answer no to and then start getting them comfortable with saying no to you. Again, this concept is huge when it comes to making friends or getting someone to go on a date with you. You want to have created an environment where they feel completely trusting and comfortable with you to answer honestly, so when you actually finally ask them for a commitment to do something with you in the future, that you can trust what they say. And not only just trust what they say in the moment, but you want to know that in their mind, when they are thinking a week later, to reconfirm their commitment and meet with you on a Friday, Saturday night, they want to have the feeling from your initial interaction that you're a person that they can say no to and you'll respect their decision and be completely comfortable with it. Because later on, they want to meet you again and use that time with you to, gather more information about you and determine how much they like you and then decide how that relationship is to evolve into the future. And they want to know that you're a person who will be comfortable with whatever decision they make in the future about how that relationship is going to evolve. Now, if they feel before they meet you for a second time that you're not a person that will respect and be comfortable with their future decisions, they're just going to avoid meeting you again altogether, so not to put themselves into a potentially uncomfortable situation. So the book describes all the different types of yeses and the different types of nos that you can receive from a person. For yeses, it can be a counterfeit yes, a confirmation yes, or a commitment yes. A counterfeit yes, I'm sure you've received many times in your life. A counterfeit yes is like you've improperly gone up to someone and asked them for their number without using all the concepts that I'm teaching in this video and other videos I've made, and that person goes, oh yes, here's my number, bye-bye. They didn't really want to give you their number. They didn't really want to see you again, but it was just the easiest way out. So a lot of times people use these counterfeit yeses to, get out of an interaction that they're not comfortable in, just because it's the easiest thing to do is to say yes, even though they don't really mean it. A commitment yes is what you want to go for. A commitment yes is where the person says yes and actually means it. And when it comes to no's, you want to know the reason behind why you're getting a no. A no can often mean, I don't have enough information. It can mean, I'm actually looking for something different. Or it can mean, you're making me uncomfortable. And if you don't know why the person's giving you the no, then there's no way for you to adjust your behavior or look for a solution. And in initial interactions, when people are really trying to get a number from a girl or push someone into a business relationship or contract without that other person really knowing you yet, this is when the no is usually coming from a place of, you're making me uncomfortable with all this pressure, plus I don't really know enough about you to want to make any type of commitment. So if I do give you a yes, it's not going to be a real commitment yes, it's going to be a counterfeit one just to end the situation. And most likely I'm just going to say no because it's the safest option, because I don't have enough information. And these are things you can fix. You can have a better conversation and express yourself more accurately so they know what they're committing to and they know your true intentions. And also you can learn to communicate in a manner where they feel much more comfortable with your communication style. And again, they know that they can say no to you and you will not get angry or react in a way where they would feel threatened or uncomfortable. I'm now going to go over some of the techniques that the book teaches to make a person more comfortable interacting with you. The first one is being a good listener. Listening to a person shows that you're willing to empathize with them and care what they have to say. While you listen to them, you should repeat back to them what they said so they truly understand that you have understood their points. You don't have to necessarily agree with the person, but by just repeating back what they said, it shows that you understand them, and it shows that you emphasize with them. And this creates an instant connection. The golden phrase that you're looking for is for them to respond back to you and say, that's right, and have this, that's right moment, which is their brain saying, yeah, this person gets me. Yeah, this person understands me. That is golden. The book describes the that's right moment as the most important moment in any interaction, because it's once the other person really truly feels that you understand them that they'll start opening up and they'll trust you while negotiating. Another powerful technique that the book discusses is that of labeling. Now, labeling is when you acknowledge another person's emotions, but in a way that they don't feel judged. Because if you do so in a way where they feel judged and they feel like you're kind of attacking them or accusing them of being like negative or hostile or upset, then they're going to come back at you in a way that's also confrontational. And this cycle of negativity is not going to help the negotiation move forward, because they're going to want to win the argument. You enter an argument, and in an argument, that side wants to win, and either of you winning is not going to be beneficial to reaching a final outcome on whatever the main topic is that you were discussing. So it's better to avoid this altogether, and you do that by using phrases like, it seems like, it looks like, it sounds like, and then finishing them with a phrase such as, it seems like you're really passionate about this. And the person's like, okay, yeah, they're acknowledging my emotions. That means they're respecting me. But they're not saying I seem super upset. They're just saying I seem really passionate. It's a polite way for me to now further develop my thoughts and explain to them why. And after I explain to them why I'm so passionate about this, and I feel that they understand me, it kind of diffuses the situation and then it can move forward. You always want to try to avoid a you versus me dynamic. You want the person to feel like you're on the same team trying to find a solution together, not that you're competing against one another. So while labeling negative emotions in the way I just described can help diffuse them, labeling positive emotions can help reinforce them by saying things like, oh, you seem very excited about this. Seems like you're looking forward to this deal, right? That just reinforces what the person's feeling, and that can also work to your advantage. The final technique that I'm going to discuss from the book is asking a person how something's going to be achieved after you've already agreed on doing something. By asking them how, this is asking for them to actually think in their mind the plan and come up with there on the spot with any problems that there may be, which will give you the opportunity to address them then and there, and then increase the probability of success in the future. And if you ask them how, they're also committing to it more, right? Let's go back to an example of just asking someone for their number because you're interested in dating them. What people often do wrong is they go up and go, hey, they talk, and then they're like, oh, can I have your number? And the person's like, yeah, okay. They don't really know why they're giving you the number, and it's probably what we discussed before, a counterfeit yes, right? They're just giving the number because it's the easiest thing to do in the moment and at the time. But instead, if you have a good conversation, you show that you're comfortable with hearing no from them, and when it finally comes to the end to the conversation, you ask them, hey, would you like to spend time together next weekend? And the person says yes. And then you ask the question, well, how do you propose I get in contact with you? And they say, well, you can call or text me. And then you ask them, oh, what's your number? Now when you've gotten to the point where you're asking for the number, not only do you have a valid reason to ask them for it, which is to facilitate the execution of a plan to get together the next weekend, but they have actually proposed to you that you ask them for the number as a solution to how to achieve that. This incorporation of the other person into not only the decision-making process, but also into the details of how an outcome is going to be achieved makes them much more invested in everything. And this makes the outcome much more likely to occur. So while in today's video I discussed all the concepts from the book that apply directly to everyday social dynamics, there's also a lot of concepts in the book that can be applied to more rigorous negotiation, especially when it comes to setting prices for things or having your demands met. And I have actually applied those techniques in the business world and saved thousands and thousands of dollars. I actually wrote an article reviewing them and laying out my step-to-step guide of how to apply them in the order, and you can even just do it in email. It doesn't even have to be on the phone or in person to achieve great results. So I'm going to actually just link to that in the description below, and you can just read that if you're interested in a good step-by-step guide of how you can probably lower your prices for what you're paying for different deliverables or whatever type of business you do. And if you're interested in how these concepts and other similar concepts apply directly to dating, I recommend you check out my book. And if you're interested in how they just apply more generally in all interactions, then I created an online video course. Links to both these things can be found in the description below. Consider to become a Patreon subscriber and you'll get unlimited access to this course. Also remember to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, ciao.